Hi everyone, it's Karen. I am back to show you I have three right now of the Paper Pumpkin July, and they're alternative to what, you were given in the box to make the little baskets, which are adorable. And my directions here. And they make the cards and the baskets, and I'm sure you've seen the whole kit out. And I made a few cards, so I'll show you what I made. So I'm gonna put you down. Okay, so my first card, I have a couple of nieces that are teachers. So I made this guy out of the tissue paper, and I did use the Poppy Parade paper, which matches perfectly. And a white card base, but everything else is from the kit. And I put on, what do you call them? You know what they are, these things. It'll come to me. It might be 2 in the morning, and I will come down and make a video just so I will let everyone know I am not getting old, and it'll come to me. Anyway, so these are cards I make all kinds of, school kind of cards, because you can send them home to parents that have volunteered or donated something to the class, and she likes to do that, so I think that's great, and I just like making the cards for her and my other niece, and another one who's graduating who's also going to be a teacher, and my daughter's boyfriend is a teacher, so apparently that's the thing to do. And then I jumped on the whole Christmas in July thing, and I made a little Christmas card. I did use the Whisper White. I used the insides of the little envelopes. I used just the red and the green. And I opened them up, cut them into squares. I used my white twine that came in there. I used the little piece that came out of the blueberries, little die cuts, as the star on the tree. And then, I don't know if you can see this, I used a paper hole punch, and I just cut whatever was left over from cutting up the envelopes. So, you gotta save everything, guys, I'm telling you. So, little stripes, I did that just to add more color and definition, I guess. And I did the twine down the tree, and I did use some sequins that I had in my stash. Other than that, everything came out. Oh, sorry, the Granny Smith apple green I used for the tree, and the brown soft suede for the trunk. And that's that one. And then there is this one. I made a little picnic day. I used Whisper White cardstock to make the card. I used the soft suede to weave the basket. I just cut one of the like this guy, one of these, into like a loaf of bread. I cut the smaller fruit off of the envelopes, so they're a lot smaller. So I put those on the paper plates that I got by punching holes into scraps that I have. And you can trace something if you don't have the punch. I think I put it away, but I think it's a 1 inch or 1.5. And then I took just a little gray marker and kind of made the lines that are on your paper plates. Then I put the little fruit, and then I cut up some Daffodil Delight and made some little cheese to go with the bread. I also used the brads, and this is also soft suede, some more of the berries, and then the tissue paper for there. So I'm going to show you how I made the basket. So let's get that going. All right. Sorry, Diet Coke break. I just want to show people, I keep it in a glass jar now, because I did have an accident last week, so this is my new solution. Stays in a jar. Okay, so as you can see, I just used some Scotch tape, and I taped a row of the soft suede. And these strips, they're not all the same, because I've seen baskets that aren't all the same, but they're basically between 1/2 inch and 3/4 of an inch. So I taped those all down, and then I cut up one of the basket, you know, the big thing to make the baskets, and I just cut stripes. Actually, I kept both the sides, because this is what I made the basket on here. So I cut it, the other side I cut off for the basket we're making, and then I cut the strips from whatever's left over, sorry. So I have all these little pieces, and I, you know, right back to kindergarten, over, under, over, under. And when you get to the next row, do the opposite of what you did before. And it really goes quick once you do the first row and tape it down. And that's not even a big deal. And so once we get, oh, I also used the Wink Stella to make my fruit shiny, because that looks better. And I heard that supermarkets are always spraying down their produce and everything so it looks shiny, so that we will purchase it. The shinier it is, I guess. So I don't know if that's true. It's just one of those things that you hear, you know. And then you say, someone says, well, where did you hear it? And then if you don't remember, I think they think people make it up. I said, oh my gosh, do you think so? So I cut my little basket from this to this, and I definitely have enough of this. And so what I did is the last bottom row, we're going to put some glue dots, just to make sure everybody stays where they're supposed to stay. I didn't get it. And the kit did come with the glue dots, and it's just easier for me to use mine because I know I can get them off. And because you know how nerve-wracking it is when you're making a video and that you can't tie a bow, which I cannot do, and to put the camera on top of it, yeah, you wouldn't. It would be like a 30-day video. Okay, so I just did that, and I'm going to take the basket that I cut shorter. Oh, we got to take this off, which this will, you know, eventually be glued down, so we don't really need the tape. So we need to measure. So what I'm going to do is make sure that the top row is all glue dotted in, because we need to cut the tops and the sides, so we need to make sure that that top is not going anywhere. And just do that one and do the other end, and then maybe one in the middle is the best bet. Oh, I know I should use one of those little pokey things. And it's not like I don't have 5,000. But, you know, it's one of those things where you buy something because you see someone else use it, and you're like, oh, look at that. I will craft better, I'm sure of it, if I only had that tool. And I did the same thing when I bought a $100 iron. Now, I do not iron unless I'm crafting and I need that. But other than that, I do not iron. And my mother irons all the time. But anyway, I bought the iron because I was a little depressed one day, and it was on the home shopping channel, and I said, oh, look how happy they are because they have this iron. Fantastic. So I bought the $100 iron, which did not iron any better than the $15 Black & Decker I had. So my son, he was about 3, and we went to visit my mother, and we came in, and my mother irons everything. Underwear, pants, she irons it all. And when we went in, my son said, Mom, you didn't tell me that Nonna crafts too, because the only time my son saw an iron was when I was crafting. And it was so sweet. And I just had to laugh at that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is cut the top off. Get all those little pieces out. And then I'm just going to double check. Make sure it's going to fit on there, which it will. So I'm going to cut the sides off. And I recommend using a long pair of scissors to do this, because if you use the little ones, it's going to take you forever. And this way, you know, the whole side's going to get cut at once. All right, I will cut. I'll leave the bottom so I have extra. All right, so then you want to match it up to here. So let's, I'm waiting for my tape runner refills to come in. I just placed a Stampin' Up! Order, which I got to tell you, there is a thing running right now that you can buy 3 packages of Designer Series paper, and you get a package free of your choice. There is a limit on which sets they're talking about, but you know, you can't go wrong. And if you get a friend to buy 3 and get 1 free, but different than what you got, you're just gonna have enough paper. You can split that. It's brilliant. So that was good. And then there's another thing that if you sign up to become a demonstrator, right now, I don't know when it ends, so I hope it didn't end already. Then you can get like 16 stamp pads, or I forget what it is. And I should have checked it out before I sat down, because I don't even have a catalog or the flyer that I should have. And then I wonder why no one wants to shop with me. What can you do? So anyway, it's worth going on to check. My blog is scrapbyscrap.stampinup.net. And that is where you can find the information, or you can purchase anything from my store. And if you live in my general area and you'd like a catalog, I can drop you off one of those too. So yeah, let me know whatever you need. And then I just corner rounded each end. And you have the basis of your basket. Now, clearly we need to put a little piece of cardstock up here. Now, I cut that. And I think I said before, I really do not measure. I just eyeball it where I want it to be. Do I want a big border, a little border? And that's just what I do. And it doesn't bother me if it's in the wrong spot or a little bit off, because this side is a little bit longer than the other side. I'm just going to chop it off. So we have our basket. So the next thing I did was I took, again, a piece of soft suede and 2 pieces to loop those around to be like those handles. So I used the brads to hold that on. So we can take our box, and I don't know if you saw my other alternates from the last catalog, but they keep coming to me. Like, oh my God, I have a great idea. But not for this catalog, not for this paper pumpkin, but for the last one. So I think when my brain realizes that it doesn't need to be in that package anymore, I think I'll be good. Okay, so looks like I lost my brads. Now I have 1,052, so I absolutely could go get some, but I'm not gonna. Oh, I need the other kind. Sorry, I gotta cut one more piece of paper just for my card base, and you can use whatever color you want. And I'm also, you know, waiting, besides for my glue refills, is new trimmer blades, because that would help me out too. But we will use this. All right, so this is going to be 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 once we're done. So I am cutting it at 5 1/2. And this one does not have, that trimmer does not have the score on it. And, yeah, so I'm using this guy. I've had it forever. And I do have the Stampin' Up! Too. It's just, if I cleaned my desk off, then I could use it. But I think you guys can see just enough to see what a disaster this room is. And it's one of those things that if it was someone else's mess, you know, I'd be right on that. I would want to redecorate it. I would clean it. But when it's your own, it's a nightmare. Okay, so next thing I did, I took my little piece of my red vellum, if that's what it is, or tissue paper, and I'm going to use that just as my little backdrop. It would be my little bag that I would, you know, just put out. There you go. And I did notice, just for your information, I did notice that when you put the tape runner on the tissue, you got to be really careful. Because did you see what happened right there? It's so ready to rip. So just be careful when you put the tape runner in. I don't even have any fast fuse refillables, and now it's gone. And I can't even use that. But we will champion on. Okay, so here we go. We got that on. We're going to have our basket here. And I'm going to use the soft suede to make the handles. And what I did was just get something around. Just kind of give it a little, break the fibers down so they're easier to just round them off on the basket. So we'll do that. And we're going to glue one side to the back. Oh, I think I'm going to use glue dots. Sorry, another Diet Coke break. Okay, so, yeah, I'm going to use glue dots to do that. And stick those guys right on there. And then just stick it right on the back. Do the same thing with the other side. So, I don't know if anyone has seen my other videos, and by looking at the numbers, that, you know, is the truth. But we've been having this issue with our dog. We adopted him last year, so he's a little over a year old. And he chases birds and eats them. No, not just birds. I'm sorry. He ate a chipmunk. Like, I literally was outside looking for him because we have an electric fence. And I was thinking, oh my God, he's not, you know, hearing me call him. Where is he? And I went around the side of the house where they really don't go, but I just was walking around the yard to find him. Yeah, I don't know where those are. Those little brads. So I'm going to put a glue dot, and then I will put the brad on when I finally find it. Anyway, so I turned the corner, and there he was with the chipmunk sitting there eating the poor thing, which totally grossed me out. And my husband and everybody says they're animals. That's what they do. It's an instinct. And I'm like, I don't care what it is. I will not have it. That's it. So a couple of days later, my husband and I were cleaning off the pool cover. And all of a sudden, we heard these birds, like, scream. Like, I don't know if screaming is the word, but it was something like that. And so we ran around to the side of the house, and there's my little Gunner hot dog batting around a little bird, like playing with it like it was a little toy. And I guess I was grateful that it wasn't eating it, because I was the one who had to get him off of the chipmunk. And nobody else was home, and it was very traumatic for me. I love animals. I don't really like birds, but I also do not want my dog eating birds. So my husband got the bird away, and okay. So then another week goes by, and there is my dog. Yep, there he was. Had a squirrel. A squirrel. Now, my dog is a dachshund, so he's a miniature one. So he's got like legs this tall. I mean, that is it. Wait, we got to get back to the card for a minute. So I have the little piece here, and then we are going to cut our envelopes, which I know is sad because I think they're adorable also, but when crafting is involved, you gotta just do what you gotta do. Okay, so let's put these two aside. Gonna get this. So then anyway, after the squirrel, we went to my parents' house. I think it might have been for 4th of July for a little cookout. And we brought all 3 of our dogs because they don't like the fireworks, and I don't blame them, and I certainly wasn't gonna go and leave them at home. So this is the best way to cut your envelopes open, is to just take a skinny little thing off the sides, and you get a good size usable paper. So my father loves birds, and he's got all kinds of different birds, eat off of different feeders that he has. He's got his hummingbird feeder. He's got, anyway, so we go. And I'm sure you can imagine what had taken place. And my husband was trying to, like, not tell me because it's all freaking me out. I've seen enough. I do not want this to go on any longer. So, yeah, he caught a bird. So I thought my father was going to have some kind of a coronary episode because he loves his birds. So at the end of the day, my father realized that since my dog was over, they didn't get one squirrel. And the squirrels eat all of my father's bird seed. And it drives him crazy. So I think he wants my little gunner to work for him. And I said, no, sorry, he will not be doing that. Okay, so from these, all we need to take from these are the little apples and the little strawberries. And I did cut some out to save this time because I have yet to figure out how to, like, edit a video. I just can't do it. And I have 3 children that I know could do it in 0.3 of a second. But, you know, they're busy. They don't have time for their mom. And I said, oh, it's fine. It's just me, your mom. So, as you can see, I really have not used much that is out of the kit. So, it was the white cardstock. It was the little plates. And the other 2 pieces of paper, which were the Granny Smith and the, see, I really need to see someone about my memory. I know I'm getting old and everything, but soft suede, I think. Okay, so there's one apple, and then we need the other apple, and just try not to take too much out of the paper. And as you can see, I've got my scissors held, but I'm only turning the paper. And that makes fussy cutting so easy to do. And I actually like fussy cutting. I could just sit here and cut apples and blueberries and strawberries all day. Oh, I forgot. After the 4th of July cookout, I think it was 2 days later, and my daughter was having a little dinner by the pool with her boyfriend. And And there's my little dog once again, but now he's got a baby bunny. A bunny, people. I just... So the problem with the chipmunks is they run up the gutters in my house. And my dogs have figured this out. So they get to at the end of the gutter, and they know he's going to come out sooner or later. So they wait to attack, because I believe he has just started teaching my other angel dogs that never caught any animals until Mr. Gunner was adopted. So, yeah, he's not only a cannibal or a serial killer, he is both of those, because I'm sure after 2 or 3 kills, you're definitely called. And there goes the brain again, a serial killer. So we have just come up with a brilliant idea to get, because I said, oh, let's put some chicken wire at the end of the gutter, which is great, but we got to make sure there isn't a chipmunk in there. So I don't know how we're going to do that. My idea was to get the hose up on the roof and squirt it down the gutter, and it'll come running out. I imagine. I mean, that's what I would do. All right, so last one is the strawberries. I'm going to try and do it fast. Actually, we could even wait on the strawberries. And we could just, because I'm even cutting really crooked, because I'm trying to hurry. So I'm going to leave those. Okay, so next thing we do, we have our card. We now have our little basket. And, oh, the paper plates. Yeah. Oh. So, I wonder again why no one watches my videos. Now, clearly I know why. All right, so I can't find that. So picture, if you will, 4 white circles. And then basically I put all my fruit on my veggies. I stuck the fruit up in here and basically just shove everything. I even, cut out some little, I don't know if you can see them, but like little tiny blueberries, because I thought, well, I'll just throw them in. It'll look full and everything will be great. Then I realized I didn't have to actually cut those, because I do have a hole punch, which is one other thing that I used. So anyway, I just took in between the apples and the strawberries. Oh, there is all this paper that you can use. So I just cut some triangles out, and I used that for my napkins. And we can glue this down. So we gotta do this. Okay. So we're just gonna stick this over here. We're gonna shove some fruit in there. So needless to say, you need to keep every piece of this that you can, because look at, that's a good sized piece. You could even cut yourself a smaller strawberry or a couple of them. You'll be golden. All right, so we're gonna sit that in there, and then we would of course have our plates and our bread, but basically that is my card. So I hope you enjoyed that. And I also want to show you one more time my little apple guy, because I'm sure if I never got thank you notes, but I'm sure if I got a thank you note from one of the teachers, and the many teachers, my kids are all old now, but I would have loved a little thank you note. Just like, hey, appreciated you coming in and doing art projects with my students. Any of those things. So I was on the PTO, all that. So anyway, here are my cards, and I hope you all have a great weekend. And I will not see you. You will see me either one more this weekend or definitely Monday or Tuesday. So have a great weekend.